Rachelle.
I'm Kalie.
And I'm Bree.
And we are Paranoia Percentage. We're just three girls who are a little anxious about our world.
And this is our 4th episode, so if you don't know what we do here,
we're fascinated by cryptids, conspiracy theories, and everything weird. So today we're going to talk about flat Earth, which is a theory.
It is a theory. I've got a theory. It could be bunnies.
What is that from?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, I never watched that.
Tony will be so disappointed in you guys.
Well, he's probably just going to force us to watch it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
definitely.
It shouldn't be too terribly much of a problem.
Flat Earth is, well, it is a conception of Earth's shape that the Earth itself is not a sphere, but instead it's
flat.
A plane or a disc. Some people think it's like shaped like a plate. Ancient cultures, especially in Greece and the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, etc., tended to believe this theory, especially when they thought that the Earth was the center of the universe, because that's all they saw was things going around the Earth.
Right.
So it was sort of assumed, and they believed that the Earth was flat. But then the idea of the spherical Earth came about in about the 6th century BC, and that's when the first people started to believe that maybe the Earth was spherical shaped. But today, especially recently, with the rise of YouTube conspiracy theories, a lot of people are starting to believe that maybe we are being misled, and that the Earth is actually, in fact, still flat.
Still flat?
Or has always been flat.
Oh, okay.
But that...
Just clarifying.
We should continue the belief system that it is flat.
Okay.
And that the Earth is, in fact, not spherical.
Yeah. We are going to do our best to reserve judgment as much as we can with this episode because we want to be respectful. We don't want to discount anybody's beliefs.
Yeah. Like all episodes,
we'll do our percentage thing at the end, but yeah, we want to be as both sides of it as we can be, as middle of the road as possible, to use my politician references.
Yeah. Non-biased.
Exactly.
So we're going to present some theories as to why the Earth may in fact be flat, but also I believe all three of us have some refuting evidence as well.
Yes.
As to why the Earth may in fact be sphere.
Well, again, we have to do both sides. We have to do the why it's flat, and we have to do the why it's not flat. The modern flat Earth belief, like what they currently believe, I say they, the people who believe in the flat Earth theory, it started with an English writer named Samuel, I'm going to butcher this name, Samuel Rowbotham, who lived from 1816 to 1884. Yeah, I'm not good at pronouncing people's last names. And he did some experiment called the Bedford Level Experiment, which I didn't have a lot of information on. I think you had a little bit more, Bree. Do you know? No? Okay.
Not on the experiment, no.
What
Okay.
is that?
I have it on his theory, but not on his
I don't know exactly. The article that I was looking at did not really go into depth on it. We could look that up real quick if you'd like.
Yeah, Bree's got it.
Okay.
So do you know where this began?
Rowbotham published a pamphlet called Zetetic Astronomy, which I know that Bree has some stuff on the Zetetic method, which we'll get into that in a minute. But he published that pamphlet, and then he wrote a book called Earth Not a Globe, which proposed the idea that Earth was a flat disk centered at the North Pole, and that the southern edge of the Earth was a wall of ice known as Antarctica. But he also said that the sun and moon were 3,000 miles above Earth, and that the cosmos was 3,100 miles above the Earth.
When did you say you published this?
1881.
Thank you.
Getting back to the Bedford Level Experiment.
Yes, please.
It is a series of observations carried out along a 6-mile or 9.7-kilometer length of the Old Bedford River on the Bedford level of the Cambridgeshire Fens in the United Kingdom during the 19th and early 20th centuries to measure the curvature of the Earth.
My friend Joe is going to hear this and destroy us on your pronunciation of Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, alright. Well, it took me a second, but
it's
I
okay.
said it okay.
It's okay. I'm sure he'll email me and correct us.
Rowbotham.
Hey.
You might get emailed about that.
I probably will.
Robo-bottom?
Yeah,
Rowbotham.
yes.
Yeah,
that's canon. His name is Robo-bottom from now on.
So
we'll call him
anyway,
Robo-bottom.
So anyway, Robo-bottom basically inspired a man named Samuel Shenton to start the Flat Earth Society in 1956.
Yep.
However, that society in particular was disbanded after...
Wait, isn't there still a Flat Earth Society?
There is, but
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
that particular Flat Earth Society, the one started in 1956, was disbanded, I think, after the moon landing.
There are actually multiple Flat Earth societies, like Flat Earth clubs. That makes sense.
And a
There's
lot of them are based in social media.
Right,
now.
but I thought the Flat Earth Society
The official Flat Earth Society does exist, yes. That is a thing.
But
I did use their website to research this episode.
The one that was started in 1956, like the official first one, disbanded after the moon landing because, how could they? No.
I mean, that's another conspiracy theory that we'll get into at some point, is the moon landing.
Right, actually, I have
You're going to go into it a little bit?
A tiny bit on this.
We will probably do a full expanded episode of that at some point, so
I think we
get
should.
excited for that.
Because I almost think it's true.
Okay, we will get into that. We got to do that. We got to do Nessie. We got to do Marilyn Monroe, JFK, RFK, all that good stuff.
Which are
Hellhounds.
Yes, we have to do Hellhounds. You've got so much to look forward to, fans. Okay, so there are certain groups among the people who believe the Flat Earth theory. Flat Earth theory, Flat Earth conspiracy, however you want to verbalize it, same principle. So there are verses in the Bible that I did look up that do kind of, sort of support the Flat Earth theory. And a lot of people who believe in it will use this as their basis as to why they agree with it. So there was quite a few. There was 15 verses that I found. A lot of them were repeating the same thing over and over. And then some of them, in my opinion, was kind of grasping at straws a little bit. They're like, oh, yes, this verse says this. And I'm like, well, is that what it's saying, though? Because you're stretching. You're reaching a little bit. Okay,
Well,
so the verses that I have don't reach.
Yeah. I think that's also the thing about the Bible is that there's so many different translations.
Yes.
That so many different people reach for it in different ways.
Right, which we'll not get into the Bible in this episode. I don't know if we'll ever do anything on that one, because that's not a conspiracy.
No,
that's a religion. There's a difference. We try and be as respectful as we can. So we are going to start with 1 Chronicles 16:30. If y'all would turn in your Bibles to this.
Oh,
to
yeah,
that
I have a
page.
Bible. Let me go get my Bible.
You don't have to. You can if you want to. All right, cool.
Bree is getting a Bible.
Bree is getting a Bible. We're getting into
Bree
this.
had a Bible.
All right, so 1 Chronicles 16:30 says, "Tremble before him, all the earth. The world is firmly established; it cannot be moved." So, I don't think that means the earth is flat.
The earth is firmly established.
The earth is firmly established; it cannot be moved. And they're saying flat because round earth would spin, would turn on its axis, right? And this says it cannot be moved, so therefore it can't spin. So that's why, because there's the theory of the sun being like a man-made thing that just kind of moves around there's pictures online, you can find this. There's
Right.
a whole diagram
I
thing.
have a question.
Yes.
Can't a disc spin?
Yes, theoretically.
Yeah. So that doesn't suggest to me that it would mean flat Earth.
Right. I agree with you. I'm just saying what they are saying.
Yeah.
I just want the facts to be out there.
I thought you were drinking my coffee. That is also your coffee.
That I made
that you made for me.
All right.
I was like, hey.
I was like,
So the next one is Isaiah 11:12. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth.
The four corners of the earth.
Quarters.
Quarters.
There's another one that says corners. That one says quarters. There's another verse that says corners. So it is interchangeable, corners and quarters.
Are they two different verses, or are they two
There
different
are two.
translations?
No, there are two different verses that say basically the same thing. One of them says quarters, and one of them says corners.
Interesting.
I did not put the other verse in because there was a lot of verses that were basically saying the same thing over and over again. So I did not put in all of those.
So they're suggesting that if the Earth is flat, then it has
Corners.
or quarters. So four.
Which implies not a disc, but a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one is Job 28:24. For he views the ends of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. implying that the earth ends, he being God.
So he goes to the edges.
Yeah. It says he sees the ends of the earth. Yeah.
But wouldn't that just be the horizon?
Or the end of the planet.
This is what's known as biblical literalism. The ends of the earth, where the earth ends.
Well, I'm thinking of that scene in Forrest Gump where he's saying he doesn't know where the sky ends and the earth began, or however he says it.
Right.
So, like, it looks like, if you're looking off into the horizon, it looks like the earth drops off.
Yeah, it does.
Technically it does, yeah. Like, it's an entirely curved surface, so no matter where you are on the planet, it does drop off.
Right. But even if you're talking about a literal Bible verse, it would still seem as though the earth ended.
Yeah.
So okay, I get that one, but again, it doesn't strike me as saying that the earth is flat. Sounds more like I'm looking at the end of the earth. It looks like the end of the earth.
That or
I agree with you, but I also see what they're saying here.
Yeah.
That or from my religious perspective, it's that God can see the end of the earth as we know it, like the end of the world.
That is another possible translation.
That's what I'm more seeing it as.
He can see our future.
Exactly.
Yes.
The future of the earth.
He can see the future of the earth and how it's going to end and
Exactly.
all of that.
I agree with you. I think that's what it is.
I think that's what it was written to be. I think.
But again, it's the difference between biblical interpretation
and
biblical literalism.
Yeah.
I am an interpretationist. I am not a literalist.
I agree.
But, to each their own. There is a similar one. This is also in Job. Job 37:3. He unleashes his lightning beneath the whole heaven and sends it to the ends of the earth. So again, that's the ends of the earth. And then the next one is Matthew 4:8. Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. So that implies that you can see the entire earth from this high mountain. And then the last one that I wrote down was Psalms 75:3. When the earth and all its people quake, it is I who hold its pillars firm, which the earth is on pillars. Which this goes into, there is a series of sci-fi books by, I always get mixed up Terry Pratchett and Terry Goodkind, but I believe it's Terry Pratchett. Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I'm pretty sure it's Terry Pratchett. Has a series of books in which the earth is a disc that is on the back of 4 elephants moving through space. Yes. I do not think that the people who subscribe to the flat earth theory believe that this is a fact. This is a sci-fi novel, but it is a sci-fi novel based on the flat earth theory.
Yeah, I think it's called science fiction for a reason.
Right, I'm not.
And I think the flat earthers would agree with that. Like
Yes.
people who believe.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody
earth.
believes that this book is fact. I think it's just this is like Terry Pratchett's version of this theory.
And if you do, that's fine. Just tell us why.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
No, we're never going to laugh at anybody and make fun of anybody, whether we agree with you or not. We want to know why you believe the things you believe, honestly. Like, we're seriously curious.
Again, that statement isn't totally true. The aliens behind the moon thing. We
Okay,
totally laughed
fine.
at you.
We did laugh at that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We apologized for laughing at it. We're trying to be respectful.
I'm a little not sorry, though.
Okay.
I'm a lot not sorry.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Methods and facts.
I also don't ever regret things, really. I don't have many regrets in my
Oh,
life.
God, I do.
Me
I don't.
too. Keeps me up at night. Some stupid things.
Yep.
I don't really. If I felt so strongly about something in that moment that I believed in doing it, then I don't want to go back on that. Yeah, I get that. But we've already had this discussion. I think we learn lessons from everything.
I agree.
So, zetetic method. I'm not on this plane. But, so anyways...
If you guys haven't seen Us, go see it.
Yeah, because it's basically like a big part of us is that like they
well, there are certain characters who cannot talk, and that is their way of communicating. So they're calling to each other,
and it's and so we started doing that pretty religiously.
Yep. It's literally been every time we've seen each other since.
And multiple times at every time we've seen each other.
It's fun.
So, back to business.
Yes, please.
The zetetic method is basically the opposite of the scientific method. But anyway, so instead of the scientific method, which uses, science to prove a theory.
Hypotheses and
experimentation
Yep.
and all of that kind of fun
Right.
stuff. This method states that a human's senses are what need to be considered the truth.
But there's a reason why we have invented tools for measurements.
Oh, yes, I know.
Because the human senses are not accurate.
Oh, okay, but for example, our personal perception of Earth, so like when we're on Earth, is that it's flat. So like we're walking on
we're
it,
walking on flat surface,
flat,
yes.
Yeah. And then when we're looking out into the horizon, it looks flat sometimes.
Right, okay. I'm with you.
So they're saying trust your senses over measurement tools.
Human perception should be trusted over scientific measurement tools.
Why?
Okay.
Because Samuel Robotham says so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Anybody out there listening to this who does believe the flat Earth theory, please explain to us the why on that, because we're not getting a lot of answers in our research.
I think it is,
and I would like to know.
I think it is actually also that they think that it's a conspiracy.
Okay.
Because like the people who use the measurement tools, we're not the ones using the measurement tools. It's scientists using the measurement tools that tell us the measurements.
We can actually use measurement tools. I mean, there are apps for it, especially the horizon thing. There are apps that show the degree in which we are off. If we're looking straight and it looks straight to us, the app will show just how off we are by the angle. So we can use those.
I mean, they would probably say that the app was affected.
Exactly.
Because it would have been created by people with scientific backgrounds, would it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of get the whole the senses thing because...
And I get the whole not trusting what other people are telling you and trusting yourself. I get that.
And I get
absolutely.
that
Technically speaking, anything that we know, anything that we perceive, anything that we feel are just, sensors that go to our brain and our brain interprets it.
Okay.
So potentially reality is only what we perceive.
Okay.
But there's no way to technically prove that what we perceive is not reality. But
Right.
that's the thing that kind of makes it not really a theory, because technically a theory is falsifiable. That's not falsifiable, so it can't be a theory.
Okay.
Wait, what's not falsifiable?
A theory has to be falsifiable.
No, she's asking what is not falsifiable and therefore not a theory.
That perception is reality.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing that they're kind of using is, like, it's a method. So instead of, like, conducting experiments and everything...
Yeah, there's no experiments involved in this, is there?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's based solely off of perception.
Okay.
And so according to people that believe in the flat Earth theory, all of their perceptions of the Earth is that it looks and feels flat. Therefore, it is flat.
Which it does look and feel flat.
Yeah, to us.
Yes.
Which is another thing that I'll explain.
Right.
And actually, it also doesn't take much to disprove human senses. For example, like...
Well, yeah, I mean, my senses, my anxiety, my senses tell me that, you guys hate me, but I know that you guys don't hate me.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't really... Exactly, that's my point.
We loathe you so much.
Thank you.
I'm kidding. We love you, not loathe.
Oh, wow.
But see, my point, though, it stands. Like, anxiety tells you things. Your senses tell you things that aren't necessarily true.
No, I'm saying the five senses. So, not like anxiety or spidey sense, anything like that. It's not those senses. It's the five
My
senses.
anxiety is a spidey sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. I'm going to call it that.
Exactly.
I love
That's
that.
what I call it.
I love that.
My spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So,
there
My
are...
spidey senses tell me everyone hates me and I hate them too.
There are well over 5 senses, too. There are at least 25
Well, I'm
defined ones.
I'm saying, like, the actual, like
Ooh, I want to hear about that.
senses. Like,
there are a lot of senses.
Sight, smell, hearing, taste,
The
those
5
senses.
big ones, okay.
Yeah, the 5 big senses. Yeah. The zetetic method is based off of those 5. It's based off of sight, smell, taste, touch. What's the other one? Hearing, the one that I have a problem with.
What are the other ones? Because I've never heard that before. I've only known the main ones.
Of course, the big five, and then there's balance is a sense,
Okay.
hunger is a sense.
Okay. Does make sense.
Honestly, I can't remember, but there's a lot of them that are
I'm
defined.
gonna have to do some
and
Googling
a lot of
then.
them that are.
That's so cool. I've
kind of
never
like
heard of
not
anything like that.
There's a ton of senses.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
that's going, oh, the sixth sense, but there are so many senses.
Well, the sixth sense is being able to see dead people.
Right.
Right.
But there are so many senses that there is, in fact, a sixth sense, and a seventh one, and an eighth one, and a ninth one.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to business.
Yes.
So basically, the Zetetic
Back
method.
to life, back to reality.
This is why we can't get anything done.
It's true.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I cut out a lot of stuff. You guys, you have no idea some of the craziness that happens in this room.
So basically, the Zetetic method uses the five senses
Right.
to determine what is true and what is not.
Okay.
However, there are many, many ways to prove that those senses are deceiving you in some way.
Right.
For example, like optical illusions.
The need for glasses or hearing aids.
Or hearing aids. Leave me be.
I have a question.
What's up?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's if what you perceive is the truth, then if I didn't have glasses on, let's say I take my glasses off, does the world suddenly literally become fuzzy because I perceive it as fuzzy?
Well, I think the thing would be that the world is fuzzy, and putting glasses on your face changes your perception, and therefore is a tool. The glasses would be a tool. So the glasses are scientific.
Exactly.
And what you're seeing, the fuzz, is what actually exists.
But then
I
how
think.
come other people with 20/20 vision see the world not fuzzy and I see it fuzzy, but we're on the same Earth?
Because we all perceive the Earth differently.
Then wouldn't that mean that we're in a simulation and it's all in our heads?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Okay,
That's
anyway.
exactly what it means. Because Kalie believes in the simulation.
I do.
Okay, but basically, there's quite a few ways that you can trick your five main senses.
Okay.
For example, like take sensory marketing.
Sensory marketing?
Sensory marketing. It's basically where you make a store like feel nice, like it's not too hot, it's not too cold. You put like pictures of models that are in it that are really attractive. You play certain music. You do all of these things to make the atmosphere, make the person want to buy something. So a lot of businesses use that. Like an extreme example is like Hollister. You know how you walk into
that
Hollister,
has the opposite effect for me. That smell drives me away from the store.
That's why I'm saying it's an extreme example.
Yeah.
Well,
like
they
Walmart
started it a long time ago, and at first, like it was pretty good because they were only using like minor sense. They weren't having the music so loud, but now they are marketing towards a crowd that is younger, that is like that want their parents to want to buy these things. So they're turning the music up louder. They're making the sense stronger. They're making the actors they're making which that's another theory we'll get into. They're making the models and everything younger. They're making them
I heard that
appeal to those people.
very recently, though, they've changed that up a little bit, and they're not spraying the smell as much and not, doing the whole model thing.
Because it is taking people, it's pushing people away.
Especially since it became a meme on the internet, how exclusionary they are.
Yeah.
So
now I think very recently they've started to change their tune a little bit.
That is only one example.
Yeah, but that makes sense, though, because if you put, and the Good Mythical Morning did this, they did a smell taste test thing, where they have these little hats under their nose, like a visor, and they put something on the visor part for them to smell, and then they would eat something without seeing what they were eating, and it would change the taste of what they were eating, and they couldn't tell what they were eating because they were smelling something different on their visor.
Exactly.
So yeah, you can totally trick your senses.
There's many ways that you can trick your senses, but sensory marketing is a really, really big one that I'm kind of using in conjunction with the Zetetic method, just because there's so many ways that you can trick all five senses to make you believe a completely different thing. You could see an item on a shelf that is not using a sensory marketing technique and say, I don't really want this, but then in a store where you feel comfortable, you're relaxed, you have multiple attractive people talking to you, then you would
I mean,
feel
but
more
beauty is
apt.
subjective, though.
Yeah, of course. However, there is a societal standard of beauty, and once you see someone who is societally beautiful, then you're probably going to be like, okay.
Well, they have to appeal to the majority of people. The majority of people have a general sense of what's attractive, i.e. like symmetrical faces.
I mean, I think what I
fit
find
bodies.
attractive is not what the general population finds attractive,
That's
so...
I think that's all three of us, but I think
Yeah.
that's because we're different kinds of girls.
But you
Yes.
need to appeal to the masses if you're marketing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
for one thing, most people think Ed Sheeran is kind of funny looking. I think he's adorable.
I think he's adorable too, but
I
I
find him a little funny looking.
don't like him. I don't like him because of his looks, though. I like him because of his voice. His voice
Yeah, I
does
fell in
things
love
to
with
me.
the way he looks because of his voice.
Yeah,
Yes,
same.
absolutely.
His voice does things to me.
Same girl.
Gross.
It does.
It
The way you
does.
said does things to me.
He's hot. Like
He
his
is hot.
voice is hot.
I'll-
Have you never
although,
heard
okay,
"Give Me Love"?
Yeah, I've heard him sing.
his
He's okay.
older stuff. This new album, I don't really care much for, honestly.
Honestly, if it's Ed Sheeran, I'm probably gonna like it.
I think Shape of You is one of the worst things I've ever heard.
That's overplayed.
And I love him.
Yeah,
I thought that the first time I heard it, though.
yeah. For me, it's just
No
it's
offense,
overplayed.
Ed Sheeran. I think you're wonderful. That song is not good.
I do like dancing.
You
to that
were
song.
appealing to the masses, and I don't like it.
Well, you got to make money somehow.
He already has enough.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
But I wanted to say, Walmart does that marketing thing
yeah, sensory
with.
marketing.
Well, but when you walk in, like if it's cold, really, really cold outside, and you walk in their doors, they've got their heat right there in the doorway, so that the second you walk in, you're like, "Ooh, I'm warm." And it does the same thing with when you go back outside. You hit that warm again, and then you're instantly freezing cold the second you get out, and you're like, "Oh, maybe I want to go back in."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is that that's sensory marketing.
Exactly,
Is
that's
that,
my point. Yeah.
If you walk into a place and you're comfortable, it
Yep.
makes you want to be there.
Yep.
And so that's another way that your brain is tricked by your five senses.
Yep.
It makes you think things,
Yep.
even though, like, because your senses are seeing one thing.
Right.
Well, a lot of restaurants will do like the opposite, where because they want you to eat and get out.
Yeah.
So when it
Yeah.
gets cold in there, movie
Yep.
theaters do the same thing. They
Yep.
don't want you hanging around after the movie
Right.
because you're cold.
Yep.
Or you've got to pee or whatever, and you got to leave. So they make it chilly in there for the purpose of.
That's
Getting
true.
you-
When I'm cold, I do have to
getting
pee
out.
more.
I mean, that is also sensory marketing in a sense.
Yeah, I mean it's
It's the
reverse
opposite.
sensory
Yeah.
marketing.
but like it's to get it is marketing in the sense that you get
You get more people in
more
because you got people
people-
out of the way.
right.
Exactly.
What is
Yeah.
it called?
So it's
Turnover.
Turnover,
So it's still
yeah.
a marketing
Turnover.
technique.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yeah, totally.
so yeah, that is the Zetetic method.
Awesome.
I think there's merit to it. I think that the Zetetic method could be used with certain things. I think emotional things the Zetetic method should be used for, rather than theories that are trying to be proven as facts.
Right, because we have tools for that, and as you've said with the marketing thing, our senses are so easily full.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so many people's senses see different things.
True.
Like, I could see something as a light blue, and Rachelle could see it as, like, a turquoise. Like
Yeah.
a blue-green. Or, like, Kalie could see it as a green. Like, we could see it as three completely different things.
Yep.
And that's okay, because humans perceive things differently.
Yep.
So that's why, as far as using the Zetetic method to prove things about our planet,
Yeah.
it's getting into sticky territory.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. You're right.
So, one of the big things that modern...
Let's save the Horizon one for the end because I got one too.
Okay, I gotcha. So anyway, one of the big reasons that... Ooh, I took out my hearing aid and the world has changed. The world is very different right now.
The world has changed.
It
I
has.
feel it in the water.
I don't
I
think you guys
smell it in the
understand. Like, when
No,
I...
I get it. It's like the difference.
feel it in the
between
earth.
this
I smell
and
it in the
this.
air.
Like it's way
I
different.
Oh my god, I just got a Lord of the
But
Rings quote
imagine
wrong.
having your
What's
glasses
wrong with
off
me?
for, like, a long time.
I would die. One time my glasses were broken and I had to go a whole day without them.
Oculus Reparo.
And it was... Oh, God, thanks. So yeah, I had to go a whole day a couple years ago without glasses. And I am so blind, I can't walk around without them. So somebody had to lead me the whole day.
Ooh.
Because I'm
Yep.
actually
Legally
blind.
blind.
Yep.
Even with glasses, I can't get totally to 20/20.
Yeah.
Because my eyes are so bad. So it was not a good day, but then the next day, toward the middle of the day, I ended up getting my new glasses. And yeah, it was like
And once you put them on, the world changes.
It's insane, yeah.
I mean, that's basically what happens to me every time I take on and off my hearing aid, is that the entire world, like sight is, I guess, one thing, because, like, really, I think it's one of those senses that, like, you depend on, certainly, but,
I think different people depend on different senses.
Yeah, because I depend on my hearing a lot, but, like...
See, I think I'm a more visual person.
I can't be.
Yeah. We're way off topic.
Yeah, we are.
Facts.
Okay, so back to effectuals.
You really should listen to Potterless.
Yes,
You really should.
It's a good one.
But,
Facty poo.
yeah. So, Rachelle, you were talking about Antarctica when we
Yes.
first started the podcast.
I did mention that.
To elaborate.
Yeah, because I found this fascinating, actually.
Yeah, most flat Earth believers claim that Antarctica is actually a giant wall of ice that was built to keep us from falling off the face of the planet.
Yeah.
So, if the planet tilts...
so it's man-made?
Yes.
Yes, and they believe that there are people, government employees, NASA employees, it varies,
I'll talk about that in a second.
who guard the border,
Yeah.
the wall,
Like
the
I
ice
said,
wall.
I'll talk about
It's
that
very
in a second.
Game of Thrones.
Because different people believe different things
Right,
as far as
exactly,
that goes.
yes.
Basically, if the planet tilts in any way...
Why would it
This-
tilt? That's terrifying.
Because, like, Earth... Because, you know, our...
I don't know, tell me.
Within the dome of the domed atmosphere of the flat Earth, the gravity is simulated. It is a man-made construct, is what a lot of people believe. But so if it tilted, it wouldn't really matter. We wouldn't go anywhere because our gravity it goes toward the disk, no matter where you are in the. Because if gravity was
Okay,
organic on a flat Earth, we would all go toward the center of the disk, and we would all be on flat, falling backward.
Yeah.
So gravity is constructed. It's a simulated gravity. So if the disk tilted, no matter where you were, you wouldn't be able to tell that the disk tilted because you yourself would be tilting with it.
Right.
So I guess
Okay.
I'm
instead...
trying to demonstrate, but it's hard to do on the podcast.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I guess
you can't
instead...
see the visual.
Instead, why they believe another reason that they could believe the wall was built was so that we wouldn't walk off the face of the earth.
Right. I mean, if the Earth is flat, that's a real possibility.
Or
Yeah.
sail off of it or something.
Right.
Or sail off
Well,
of it,
they did
or-
used to believe that people sailed off the edge of the
So,
Earth.
Yeah, they did.
That was a
When-
thing,
when,
yeah.
When flat Earth was first a thing,
Mhm.
a very long
Yeah.
time ago.
Right, when we
They
were
would-
still in the exploration stage and colonies and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
So if a
believed
boat went missing,
Exactly.
it went off the
Exactly.
it sailed,
Yeah. It sailed off the side.
That's where the saying
Because
"it
that was
disappeared
pre-wall.
off the face of the earth
Yeah.
came from.
So,
Right.
how's the ice wall going to keep planes from going off the side?
It could be a very large ice wall. Because, here's another thing, to back up this part of the theory, they say that no one has ever crossed the whole continent. So, like, no one has ever seen this wall, how big it is, how far it extends.
Except for the people who are guarding it.
Yeah, which could be paid NASA or government employees.
CIA or something.
True. Yeah. But, again, there's been, supposedly there's never been anyone who's crossed the entire continent, never been anyone who's stayed on the continent, all of those things.
There are people who live on Antarctica.
That's what I'm going to get
Okay,
to.
sorry.
Let me finish my theories before asking questions.
Okay, go ahead.
So, yes, you're right. There are people that live on Antarctica. There are people who have been there and have been, documented there,
Mm-hmm.
which
Photos
could be doctored. But, anyway, back to
reality.
Oop, there goes gravity. Thank you, Shoes. We love you so much.
I want to
See,
go.
I had never heard him say that.
I want to go.
You're
I
not
guess I'm
caught
far
up.
enough
You're
yet,
not caught up.
Yeah.
No, you're still behind.
I need to catch up.
I am caught up.
I want to go home.
You are home.
No, I'm not. Home is where the heart is, and my heart is not with you people. Burn. Getting y'all back for earlier. earlier.
Podcast over. Henceforth, it will just be Rachelle and Kalie. There will be no more Bree.
So anyway, there have been many, many people who have crossed the whole continent. There is, in fact, a radio shack, an abandoned radio shack, which, is
There are lots of abandoned radio shacks. You're going to have to be more specific.
Wait, on Antarctica?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's
That is
the
what I
radio
needed.
Yeah. There's an abandoned, radio shack, like an actual radio shack.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you meant Radio Shack.
I got really blown away for a second.
Radio shack.
I was like,
oh my god.
I was like, that's a ploy for something, I swear.
No, an actual radio shack.
A shack.
I thought you
radio.
meant Radio Shack
A
was
radio.
Stuart too. That's what I was
No,
picturing.
oh my god.
I was picturing this giant chunk of ice with the Radio Shack coming out of it.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking, if that is not a government, facade,
Yeah, because Radio Shack doesn't exist anymore.
But there's one
Show
in
up.
Antarctica.
There's one in it.
Well, it's abandoned, so I guess that would support you guys' theory even more.
That would have been insane.
So, anyways, no, it's a real radio
That
shack.
was so
One
cool.
that
A radio shack.
one in which they use to radio back
Yes.
and forth. Oh
That
my
makes way more sense. Okay.
God. Anyway, so there was a radio shack, like a real radioing shack.
Okay.
Y'all.
Okay.
Seems like y'all are the ones that are crazy.
No, go for it. Okay.
But there was also this is also abandoned, but a tiny Soviet research lab that also included a bust of Vladimir Lenin at the southern pole of inaccessibility, which is a scientific point of which there is a bunch of,
Evidence?
evidence of the Earth being round.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a lot around the southern pole of inaccessibility that does in fact prove that the Earth is round. But that's my Antarctica bit.
Okay.
Cool.
And I think I have one more thing here. So another thing is that when pictures are taken of the horizon, it's not curved.
Okay.
So this is a point that was brought up by a prominent flat Earth believer
Okay.
and rapper B.O.B.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys would know him from the song Airplanes.
Oh, no. I
Right.
heard of him when doing research for this episode.
Oh,
I'd never heard of him before this.
I know him from his song Airplanes that he did with Hayley Williams.
Airplanes in the
Night
night
sky
sky
like
like
shooting
shooting
stars.
stars.
Yeah, he's from that guy. He's from that guy.
From that guy.
No, he's that guy from that song.
Okay.
I've heard that song.
Yeah, exactly. That's him.
Okay.
So that guy is saying he recently posted
That's a
a
decent
photograph.
song, actually.
Yeah, I love that song.
I wouldn't say I love it.
Apparently,
I like it.
I wouldn't like this guy because he's just seeming like kind of a mean person as far as talking about people that believe different things.
He's
than
not
him.
being respectful like we're trying to be.
No, he's not.
Okay.
And he basically posted a photograph of himself on a hill with a horizon in the background, saying, and I quote, "The cities in the background are approximately 16 miles apart. Where is the curve? Please explain this." I can explain that for you, Mr. B.O.B.
Yeah, please do.
Earth has an average diameter of 12,742 kilometers.
Okay.
So that's in kilometers, so that's even more miles. I don't feel like doing the math. But it's a very, very far distance.
Okay. More than 16 miles.
Way more than 60 miles.
Okay. Cool,
So imagine you are standing on a basketball. Or not even you. Imagine an ant is standing on a basketball.
That would be much easier than me standing on a basketball, yes.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Wait, you can't do that?
I cannot stand on a basketball, no.
I can stand on a basketball.
Good for you. I would love to
Yeah,
see
I
that.
would
Please show
fall
me.
over.
Yeah, I can stand on a basketball.
Show me, please.
I don't have a basketball. Or
We'll find one.
We go out across the street to this park
Yeah.
full of kids and
Yep.
just, hey, can
Can we borrow your
a
basketball just for 1 second? She just needs to stand
Wait,
on
she
it.
just needs to stand on
We're
it.
bigger than them. We don't have to ask.
We're trying to be respectful, Kalie.
We shouldn't just
Hi.
steal from children.
We could just say, "Give me your basketball."
How about, may we borrow your basketball for 5 seconds, please?
That's bullying.
May we stand on and pop your
hey,
basketball?
you want to see something funny? Give me your basketball just as quick.
Yeah, and then that would make the kids like me and want to follow me back to my apartment.
They're not stray cats.
That's basically what it is. That's basically what children
conspiracy made right now. All children are stray
All
cats.
children are stray cats.
I'm keeping that in.
Go for it. Because I'm terrible with children. We know this.
All right,
So-
we have trotted over the line, and we're now swimming miles away from it.
Okay, but anyway,
Yes.
so, imagine you're an ant sitting on a basketball.
Okay,
That ant could not see the entire basketball.
Right.
That ant could barely even see the curvature of the basketball.
yeah,
Because it's sitting on it.
because it's so small
Exactly, and it's so small.
We are
So
small
That is
in
why.
the scheme of the Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is why when we are standing on the earth and we are even taking pictures of it. However, I have a picture. I'll post it on the Instagram and the Facebook where you can see the curvature of the earth.
It's
When-
got to be really minute, though.
It's
right?
minute, definitely. But that's also because the earth is 12,742 kilometers wide.
Right.
So, it's really minute. However, it's there. I can see it.
Yeah.
Me and every single person that I was in that hotel with room could look out from our balcony and see the curvature. You could see where the earth curves very slightly. It's very slight. It's very minute.
Wait,
But you
because
can
the
see
Earth is huge.
Yeah, it's very
Compared
minute.
to us.
It's very tiny, but you can definitely see it. And if I don't have a picture, then one of the people that I went on vacation with does.
We'll get the picture.
Yeah,
The
but-
picture will be posted in. The posting of the picture will coincide with the posting of this episode. There, English.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's multiple ways to disprove Mr. B.O.B.'s theory. One of them being literally the size comparison of an ant to a basketball. This ant is hundreds of millions of thousands of an inch tinier than this basketball. Similarly to us to the Earth. So,
Yeah, and in fact, I think the ant to the basketball would even be the ant would be much larger.
so there's
Than us.
Yeah, in
literally-
comparison to us, yeah.
Yeah, so
Well.
there's literally no possible way for us to see the curvature of the Earth considering we're on it.
Right.
Serious question, though. Why are you wagging your ID at us?
Take me to a bar!
To a gay bar.
You didn't
No.
realize you were doing it, did you?
No, I did not. No, give me my smokes back. That's all
That's
I'm
what I can
asking.
see.
Greetings, creatures. It's your friendly neighborhood editor here to let you in on a little of the behind-the-scenes action in the making of this episode. The girls and I recorded over 2.5 hours worth of audio for the Flat Earth Theory, and while I have condensed it down considerably, it still ended up being too long, so we decided to break this episode into 2 parts. So please join us in 2 weeks for the conclusion to this theory, and in between now and then, if you believe that the Earth is flat, please hit us up on Paranoia Percentage on Facebook, or email us at paranoiapercentage@gmail.com and tell us why you believe what you believe. You might just get featured in part 2. You can find us on Twitter at paranoia%, Tumblr as Pdubs Podcast, and Facebook and Instagram as Paranoia Percentage.